We played 3 or 4 times together already. We won the event once, we finished second once, and so we know what it takes, you know, to get all the way here. I really enjoy playing doubles, especially with Thorsten, because we have similar strategies and similar thinking that makes it a little easier than two complete opposites.
And it's just fun to play with, you know, my hero. I grew up watching Ralf, and to play with him here in this tournament is just phenomenal.
Amir, he's been around, you know, quite some time, and he has done some upsets in individual play. So in a race to 7, anything can happen, and you know, I mean, it's going to be a tough one, especially first round of a tournament is always tough.
I don't think they've ever won a match in the World Cup of Pool, and we've won this event, so we have the mental edge. Plus, we play tournaments all over the world. They are not as seasoned, but in a race to 7, anything can happen. We've seen upsets before, so we know we have to come out strong, straight from the start, and that could be the key for success tonight.
Well, it's the minnows against the giants. We say that a lot in the early stages of this Betway World Cup of Pool, and this certainly falls into that category. Malaysia, massive underdogs, Ted.
Oh, for sure. And, like, you know, we always like to say it's a bit of a cliche, Phil, you know, that anything's possible in the World Cup of Pool. Malaysia would have to shoot lights out and play the match of their careers to beat this pair. Ralf Souquet, Ibrahim bin Amir on the lag. Remember, it's a winner breaks format. And
Malaysia win the lag?
Malaysia wins the lag. So theoretically, Phil, Malaysia could keep Germany in their chairs for the entire match.
Winner breaks. Malaysia to break.
Well, we've seen some teams make very lengthy journeys here and hardly have a shot. Korea comes to mind.
The great equalizer in this event, and in a lot of pool events, is it can be difficult sometimes to get used to the conditions in the first round. You know, you can be up on the practice table, which is also one of these nice diamond tables. They've got 2 practice tables upstairs, and it's just not the same. This is a totally different environment. So, but you know what? Germany, Thorsten Hohmann, Ralf Souquet, they've been doing this all over the world for many years. So they're used to this kind of like first round jitters and first round conditions.
Well, Alan Tan there on his debut in this tournament. 1 shot, 1 ball potted. Ibrahim bin Amir has played here 6 times, and Tan, his 3rd different partner.
And that is not going to go well. Now, I don't know if you can perhaps still see it. I think he can, but this is much more difficult than it should have been. That's very nicely done. So this is also now more difficult than it should have been. As we often see, Phil, as you know, in pool, that when you run out of position on one ball, the subsequent balls tend to get worse. We should make this. No. And that's it right there. That is exactly what we're talking about. It's often so hard to get back into position once you lose it on a previous ball.
And there, the shot was technically deficient as well. Lots of upper body movement, and that's why he undercut significantly.
This looks like a bank shot. He's left that on, but another not so easy shot for Malaysia. You know, they always say in pool, play the table. Don't play your opponent. Totally ignore your opponent because, you know, you have no control over what your opponent can do. But every time Malaysia stands up, they look at 2 of the greats of the game as they walk to the table. Easier said than done. All right, they're looking good here, Phil, to perhaps get the first one on the board.
Well, given the format, the race to 7. And if ever there was an environment for a shock, I suppose you could say this is it.
Yes, the conditions are there for it to happen. Very elementary here. So Ibrahim bin Amir of Malaysia. They have never won a match in the World Cup of Pool.
They normally say that if you make a mistake, that's it. Malaysia have made a mistake in this rack, but it didn't cost them. The missed bank from Germany, and the Minnows lead by 1 rack to 0. Interesting.
And they will be breaking in rack number 2. Winner breaks format. Yeah, that's right. Race to 7, winner breaks. And let's look at the record of Malaysia. Oh, I'm sorry. They have made it to round 2. Okay. My mistake. My mistake. But as you can see, not a lot of big success in this event.
Didn't play in 2007 or indeed last year, so I suppose absence makes the heart grow fonder, and they're determined to make an impression on the World Cup of Pool on this occasion.
Rack 2. Within 1 rack to 0.
We talked about Qatar beating Chinese Taipei as a monumental shock. For me, this would be an even bigger one.
Well, for me, yes, it would be a bigger shock. Malaysia does not have quite the program that Qatar does. Qatar really pours resources into the sport of professional pool. And they brought in coaches from all over the world who live and train the players in Qatar. They have regular tournaments. They host the World 9-Ball Championship every year. So it's just a growing sport in the Middle East and in Qatar in particular.
Push out cold.
Welsh referee Nigel Rees calls the push out, and so the Malaysians, who can blame them, being a little conservative.
So the 1 ball is down. So Germany to have a look at the blue 2. They're going to decide whether they want to shoot this. And obviously it will be a safety if they do.
Reset the clock, please.
And they decide not to shoot it, so they're going to give it back. Didn't really like their options there on safety, so let's see what Malaysia had in mind with this. Just a containing safety, but much better look at it now for Germany.
Yes, 3 words come to mind here, Ted. Asking for trouble.
Use those balls there on the left side. Try to block. No. No. That looks like it is on for either the carom or the combination. This will probably be a carom sorts, 2 into the 8. Or cue ball off the 2 into the 8. Oh, that's horrible.
Power shot. Ball in hand.
Unforgivable.
Well, I'll tell you what, the safety shot from Souquet was
Stop the clock.
very poor by his standards, and yet he's not been punished.
I mean, he had so many options there. He didn't have to hit it that thin. I mean, you certainly, of course, he's trying to set up the next shot, which would have been on the 2, so you have to hit it slow so the 2 and the cue ball don't go all over the place. But you got to make sure you pot the ball. Boy, and you leave Germany with ball in hand. And there you go. The Malaysians had their chance. They're up 1-0 in a race to 7. They're playing safety.
And look at the remaining balls. You really fancy Germany to equalise here, although that shot from Souquet wasn't quite as precise as normal.
Well, this will be okay. Allows Thorsten plenty of angle. Well, if you're Malaysia, Phil, you want to take advantage of every chance you're given. You give up the table like that with a ball in hand, that could be the match right there.
Well, in any sport, if you're going to see an upset, two things have to occur, really. One, the giant killers have to play very well, maybe above their normal standard. And the giants have to play below their normal standard. And that mistake from Malaysia, as you said, was unforgivable.
And the way to do it for Malaysia would be to get out to like a 2-3-0 lead to put a little doubt into the minds of the Germans. But now they've allowed the Germans to come to the table with ball in hand. There's no doubt in the Germans' mind now. And that does not bode well for the Malaysian side. So it'll be 1-1. And Germany will be breaking for the first time in the match.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the typical efficiency you expect from this pairing. Ted called them a powerhouse. The German country, as a pool nation, is a powerhouse as well.
Ralf Souquet, a hero to Thorsten Hohmann. And there you see winners in 2011, Souquet and Hohmann. They got knocked out in round 2 in 2012 by eventual winners Finland. And in round 2 last year was not a good year for Germany. But the duo that won this event in 2011, they are back, Phil.
Well, Dominik Jensch, who was part of the team last year, is very talented but relatively inexperienced. Inexperience is a word you could never use when you're talking about Thorsten Hohmann or indeed, of course, Ralf Souquet. Souquet, in fact, perhaps the most experienced European pool player there is.
And he's in the Hall of Fame. Thorsten Hohmann. Did you know, Phil, that last week Thorsten was in the Philippines and he played in a Scotch doubles event put on by none other than Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao, and he got runner-up. So he's been getting a lot of practice in this kind of format. He didn't play with Ralf. Ralf wasn't able to make it.
Interestingly, though, there was a singles event out there as well, wasn't there? And
he won the singles event. Yeah, both these guys, Hohmann and Souquet, are generally, anytime you run into them, they're in stroke. So looking at the table, the 1 and the 2 are down. The 3 goes into the side. So appears that it does go into the side. No, it does not. Always got to be down there on the table to see it exactly, but nice safety. Well, I don't think there's a full ball on the 3. Again, helps to be down where bin Amir is standing.
Well, Amir can definitely hit the 3 ball full, but whether he can see enough of it to pot it, that's the question. Yeah. I don't think he can.
That's okay. So no chance for potting it. It's a long way.
not perfect, but it could have been much worse.
Yeah. I don't think there's a chance to pot it. Unless he can. He'll be going for a safety here. But where to hide it? So the Malaysians making a good account of themselves here in this safety exchange.
Yes, and on the occasions, a limited amount of occasions, in fairness, we've seen so far, the Germans haven't been as tight in that department as you might expect.
Not yet. Again, they have to get used to the conditions out here. Oh, and here's a chance for Malaysia. You can see Ralf not happy with that. So Ibrahim bin Amir take the 3 into the side and fill the rest of the balls. As long as they get proper angle, you can keep that cue ball moving. Looking pretty good. Just have to make sure they get position on that brown 7, which is at the top of the table.
Nice use of check side there to hold the cue ball. Ibrahim bin Amir, I suppose the most proud moment of his career was winning a bronze medal in the Southeast Asian Games for Malaysia in 2005 in the men's 9-ball. His partner, Alan Tan, is the Malaysian 9-ball champion.
Oh, that's a confident stroke, but he did not want to run into the 9. Oh, that is tragic. Tragic, Phil.
Well, when contact was made on the 9, basically that was it in terms of position on the 7. But even so, the scratch made it so much worse. Compounded Malaysia's misery.
Second mistake from Alan Tan, and it's going to lead to the second rack for Team Germany. You can't leave these two all these breaks. You just can't. You can't make these kind of mistakes. They'll bury you.
And that little nudge on the centre pocket jaw there, taking the cue ball a little out into the table, makes this easier for Hohmann. Well, not dominant, but they are in front. Germany, the red-hot pre-match favourites, lead Malaysia by 2 racks to 1.
Well, I think we have to tell it like it is, because Alan Tan really messed that up. He had a lot of room to get position on the 7. They can take that from all kinds of angles. You know, even a sharp angle, he can still make that 7 ball. So that was a big mistake. Second mistake in a row from Alan Tan. Germany has not been that sharp here in the first 3 racks, but hey, when somebody's in the mood for giving, and we are approaching the Christmas season. I know it's a little early, but we're in the Burr months, so they are in the giving mode, Malaysia. You're not going to last long against the Germans when you start giving them gifts like that.
And look at this layout. Clear view to the 2-ball, and it goes straight forward position. And Germany off and running again.
Now you can see Ralf pointing the Q-tip sort of near the 3-ball. He's going to just stop this cue ball like that and go through that little alley between the 7 and 8. Pot the 4 here. Now they get a chance to let the stroke out. Get that arm working. Loosen up.
There's an economy of chat between these two. They speak when they need to. It's a week, of course, when chemistry in sport is talked about a lot with the Ryder Cup going on at Gleneagles, Germany represented there by Martin Keimer. And there's no doubt real chemistry exists between these two.
Thorsten Hohmann says that he grew up playing pool and his hero was Ralf Souquet. So Thorsten going on to become a great in his own right, partnering with Souquet on many occasions. They are great friends. They know each other's games. And when they get going, they can be unstoppable. Three to 1 now in favor of the Germans. They will be breaking. And you got to figure those two glaring mistakes from Alan Tan are going to spell doom for the Malaysians. I just don't see them coming back now.
Yes, cause for concern.
We talked about the quality of the field here at the World Cup of Pool. 9 out of the top 10 players in the world, according to the world rankings of the WPA, the World Pool Association, are here in this event. Thorsten Hohmann currently ranked number 9 in the world. Only Carlo Beato of the Philippines is the one not here in this event. But let me tell you something. Thorsten has been playing recently better than a top 9 player. He's perhaps the top 3 right now. Certainly Niels Fine of the Netherlands is definitely deserving of that number 1 spot. This is Thorsten right here. You see that 1 ball, top of the rack, going into the side pocket. That's the ball that everybody's going for in that side. The 7 goes down. And a long shot on the 2. The 3 is out there. Phil, a bit ominous for Malaysia. And you were mentioning to me, you noticed a little statistic that has sort of popped out at us. Asia not faring as well as we would have expected in this tournament so far.
Well, 4 Asian nations already eliminated. You have to think Malaysia in danger of being number 5. That was nicely cued, wasn't it?
Well, China looked good yesterday against the Czech Republic. That was a real testy match, and China came through in crunch time. The Philippines against Chile. The Philippines did not look that good, the defending champions. They play France later on. France, real loose and relaxed. Could they pull an upset? It's not likely, but it's still a race to 7. And you can't take anything for granted.
Now, Souquet's pot there on the 2 had the ball gone right into the heart of the pocket. Hohmann would have been straighter on this 3. Position would have been easier. No real issue, though.
By the way, Qatar is actually in the professional pool world is considered a part of Asia. They consider the Middle Eastern teams part of Asia. Let's bring this all the way down table.
In recent years, lots has been made, Ted, of the European domination of the Moscone Cup, and when you consider the embarrassment of riches for the selectors, just think about Germany, Holland and England. Those three combined could provide 2 or 3 competitive teams.
Another team in our tournament to look out for, Greece, will be in the final 16. They've got some talent. So 2 more balls left for Germany. This is for a commanding 4-1 lead.
Yes, the 9 ball disappears and Germany will be more than halfway into round number 2. Well, it's an oft-used word when you're describing Germans playing pool. Clinical. That's what they were there. And Malaysia have got a heap of problems. Germany 4, Malaysia 1. We're in the town of Portsmouth. The Mountbatten Centre is the venue, and this is the scene outside. It's a lovely day, it really is. Early autumn. The Navy town, where all of those great warships go out and come back to such celebrations over the years. There's a real atmosphere about this place.
Great place, Portsmouth. Beautiful town, beautiful weather, and the beautiful game of pool.
Rack 6, Germany to break, leading 4 racks to 1.
Well, the 1's in. The 2, I think, is available. As you can see, the 3 well out in the open. We're going to see another break and run.
Yeah, that 1 ball, if you're just joining us, is always racked at the top, of course, in 9 ball. The 9 ball is racked on the spot in this event, and all other balls are at random. So that 1 ball's been tracking towards the side pocket, and all the players are going for that. And the key is to try to get a shot on the 2. Of course, that's going to be unpredictable. Nicely done on the 2. So here's the shot right here, Phil. He's got to go from the red 3 and find position on the pink 4, which is down at the bottom of the table. Now, you saw Souquet point his cue stick to the right of the red 3. That's where he's going to leave the cue ball, or he wants to, and thread it through for the pink 4. This is the shot of the rack right here.
Couldn't agree more, Ted. That was the pivotal moment. Although, 4 to 5, that's a head scratcher as well.
So the 4 on your left of your screen, the pink 4. And the orange 5 sitting out there. You can just nudge this out. And they'll bring this down table or into the side. It's all personal preference. Going in the side pocket. This 30-second shot clock really helps a team like Germany. Ralf Souquet is not known as the fastest player in the world. He's very, as you say, clinical. When there is no shot clock, he takes a long time to play. But this shot clock helps them, and as it helps a lot of players who tend to be slow in pool. And you know, these players are used to playing with each other. They love this format, Phil, this Scotch doubles format. I don't think it affects Ralf and Thorsten. I mean, they know this game inside and out. They know where you're supposed to leave the ball. They have similar games, as you said, clinical, efficient, as we described Germans as they play pool. And they're both just technically sound. They know what to do out here.
Their personalities need to gel as well, of course, and they most certainly do.
Oh, yeah. They travel the world together. They're great friends. This is a walk in the park here for them. What I was saying, that this 30-second shot clock helps a guy like Ralf to actually play better. If you ask him, Ralf, would you prefer?
He prefers being 5-1 ahead, I can tell you that much. Very good indeed. 2 more racks needed for progress. One final note on that draw. I have to say this, poor old Australia. No team travels a greater distance to be here. This is the 9th time they've played in this tournament. They've been here every time the tournament's been held, and they've never won a match.
But the Aussies showed some good spirit this time, and they were really in that match, and I loved their uniforms. They had great shirts. So they made a good account of themselves this time. Now, Germany. Thorsten Hohmann.
Legal break, control passes.
Well, this time the one ball misses that side pocket. As a matter of fact, every ball missed the pocket. So it will be Malaysia.
Well, Malaysia will be thankful for small mercies actually getting back to the table.
That's not a very good safety right there. Ralph's licking his chops on this one. Well, you're 5-1 down to the Germans, and you're playing safety against Ralf and Thorsten. I don't know, not where I'd want to be.
What the Malaysians did there was like standing in a cell in Alcatraz and giving someone the keys and saying, "Lock me in."
Good one, Phil. I like that.
Extension called.
Get 1 extension per rack. Per team. Alan Tan, 2 mistakes in the first, and actually in racks 2 and 3, basically have cost the Malaysians this match. I don't think that's going to work. Now, that's a long effort for Germany. Going back to those early racks, Malaysia won the first rack. They were up 1-0. They were competitive in rack number 2, and they gave it away with that whiff on the 2 ball. Rack number 3, they were competitive again, and they gave it away. So who knows? They could have been up 3-0. That's when the doubt could have crept into these guys, the Germans, and said, well, you know what? We can't get comfortable. It's day 1. But, you know, they gave it away.
And we know that shocks can occur in Q Sports. This week up in Barnsley, it's the qualifying round for the International Championship Snooker, a very big world ranking event. And already the world champion Mark Selby and Deng Junhui, the defending champion, are out against little known opposition.
So that's the answer from Team Germany. And Malaysia once again. Could they go for what we Americans call the home run ball here? The 1-9. Hey, look, you're down 5-1. No, he doesn't go. Play safe.
It's a very commanding position, of course it is, for the Germans, but one thing you know with them, they will be taking nothing for granted. They could be 6-1 ahead and on a straight 9-ball to win, and their concentration level wouldn't drop.
Yeah, Ralf will certainly not be taking any chances. This is a guy who does everything by the book. And it has served him well over the years. Hall of Famer. They say Ralf Souquet logs more miles than any other pool player. Probably about, I don't know, millions of miles. He goes everywhere. You see him all over the world. Every week he goes to some tournament, big or small. Well,
Foul shot.
pockets the one, but Phil pockets the white. Another mistake. On a jump shot. An excellent effort, but a poor result.
Yes, and that 2-9 combination is being eyed up now by the Germans. This could be a quick conclusion.
Oh, this is just rubbing salt into the wound. Oh, that's brutal.
2-9, and all is fine if you're a German fan. 6-1 ahead, it means Malaysia have to win all of the remaining 6 racks to pull this out of the fire. Strange things happen in sport, but not as strange as that. This is the scratch that cost the Malaysians again.
It's not my day. That's what he's saying. Get me out of here. I have a feeling it'll be soon.
Today in this match, Tan is not the man.
Sometimes the simple ones are the best, aren't they, Phil? That's great.
Rack 8. Germany to break, leading 6 racks to 1.
The Kaiser, Ralf Souquet. He's won everything there is to win in this sport and more. The 1 ball down. Will they have a shot on the 2? No.
Well, the 5 ball there, I think, has saved Malaysia's bacon, at least temporarily.
The 5 balls in the way. Discussing options. Push out. No, he didn't call a push out. He's going to kick at the 2. Appears to be hidden. We're going to see another jump. I don't think he's going to jump it. He's still holding on to his regular cue. Tries a cross-table bank shot. Oh, and he got lucky that cue ball rattled in the jaws. I think Germany can see that.
That was special. It really was. To find the gap between 8 and 9, that was a bonus, but the actual cueing on the 2-ball there, top notch.
Yeah, the cue ball runs up and down the table, and to thread that cue ball in there and get position on the 3, that's a professional shot all the way.
Methinks, Ted, the end is nigh.
Well, Phil, you are a wise man. You do know of what you speak. Germany looking to close it out here and move into the round of 16.
And sending a message here. At the very start of the match, there was a couple of slightly below par tactical efforts, but apart from that, I think they've looked very convincing indeed.
Yeah, a little slow off the mark, the Germans, and that can be expected. First time out here on this TV table, first match of this tournament. In sport, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So Ralf will take this 8-ball bottom left. This 9 for a convincing 7-1 win for the Germans.
Just like that, without breaking sweat, the Germans are through. Malaysia vanquished. Germany now play Canada or Malta. That's our next match. After the break, we'll be catching up with the latest winners in this Betway World Cup of Pool.
Yes, it was German precision from start to finish. A very comfortable passage, even though a couple great shots, you have to say, from the Malaysian side. But they never really threatened either Ralf or Thorsten. And I'm very happy to be joined by a couple of happy winners. Guys, you look very comfortable out there.
Yeah, obviously quite happy. I missed the bank shot in the first rack, and then didn't make too many mistakes. You know, honestly, we got a little fortunate getting balls after the break. You know, that's very important. So we're able to string, I think, 3 racks together. So that helps our confidence. Still trying to figure out the speed of the table, but I think this match should set us positive for the future of this tournament.
And with the race, such a short race to 7, the break is huge, isn't it, Ralf?
It's, I mean, tremendous huge. And as Thorsten already mentioned, we were a little fortunate after the break. First of all, making balls, you know, fulfilling the break requirements and getting a shot on the lowest ball. And it was twice really, really tight, but we were able to get out and string 3 or 4 racks. And that was the main key. After, you know, we made a mistake in the first game, but you know, it was a bank shot, so it's not an easy hanger. A bank shot is always missable, and it certainly helped, you know, finding a good start after the break.
Now, Thorsten, you were in America. Ralf, you were back home in Germany. So you've been playing in competition. Ralf, when you're back home, how do you stay sharp?
Well, I actually was in competition as well. I played a tournament in Germany, which is very rare really. But yeah, I did play a tournament. That's actually the reason why I left the Philippines early. Instead of playing a doubles tournament with Thorsten. So he had to choose a different partner. But, well, we both stayed in stroke. That was the main thing.
Now, guys, obviously, you know you come in as pre-event favorites. Who do you see as the big threats here?
Oh, well, from now on, I think there's 16 teams in the tournament that can win it. And for us, our next opponent, whether it's Malta or Canada, that's our biggest threat, and that's the next hurdle to get over. And then we'll talk again.
Now, very interesting, if Canada should progress to play you, well, Johnny Mora was your doubles partner in the Philippines, wasn't he, Thorsten?
Yeah, it's very interesting. We finished second in a big tournament in the Philippines. It was a lot of fun. We played well, so he should be confident going into his match. I beat him in two singles tournaments, actually, in the Philippines and in New York last week. So I'm looking forward. I'm happy to play with Ralf, and I wish them good luck.
Guys, congratulations again. You can sit back, relax, and await the winner of the Canada match and Canada-Malta. That's going to be a good one, too. Well done, boys. Well done.